Mark Indelicato stars in the second season of Hacks on HBO Max. I'm David Buchanan with Gold Derby. Mark, so nice to talk with you today. You've
You
done
too.
so many shows over the course of your career, so many different projects. So just wanted to start by asking, what is so special and unique about Hacks? Because it's very clearly, a very special series.
Well, I mean, to start, I think that it's just an incredibly written show, a show that is touching on so many important kind of sociocultural conversations and discourses that we as kind of collective culture are having or should be having, and doing that with the backdrop of comedy. I think that, being able to be a part of a show that grapples with really big conversations, like intergenerational friendships and conversations, queerness, misogyny, ageism, homophobia, um, I think is a gift. I mean, I think that there's a lot of projects out there, excuse me, as an actor where you're kind of in the grind and the hustle, reading a lot of stuff that isn't that great, and then something like Hacks comes along, and it's a gift, and it's rare, and I guess the stars aligned.
Yeah, let
Excuse
me
me.
ask you. Let me ask you about because we haven't Gold Derby hasn't talked to you before about Hacks. So let me ask you about getting those first scripts. When you
Mm.
saw Damien on the page, what was it about the character that really drew you to the project and to the role?
Well, when I read the pilot, I, you know, Damien is in the first season not very much, right? I mean, he's there, but he's not, talking, right? He's not the center of every conversation. But reading the pilot, you know, all of that ego and all of that, those feelings that I think most actors feel of like, well, where's my part? I was so entranced with the story of and the world of Deborah Vance and Ava coming into the fold, that I remember reading the pilot and being like, I need to be on this show. Like, there's no doubt about it in my mind. But I was, yeah, I was desperate to be on the show. And I really, really didn't, it didn't matter to me at the time, nor does it matter to me now, how much Damien is on screen, because getting to work alongside these people, creatives that I have such the utmost respect for and want to emulate in my career, it's just such a gift. And I've been quite lucky in my career to be able to work alongside some really incredible people, so it's just another gift.
Yeah, and Damien does get some great scenes in the second season, one of which we can talk about because it's in the trailer, which is out.
Yes.
But there's a moment where Damien says that he doesn't like comedy, which I think a lot of
Yes.
people, might find surprising. So I wanted to ask you, if Damien really doesn't like comedy, or at least stand-up comedy anyway, what is it about Deborah that he's so drawn to, and why does he, spend so much time in his whole career, being, at the foot of Deborah, who he just absolutely loves?
Well, I think that, the I was so excited by that scene and by that line in particular when I read it, because it really informs a lot about Damien in a very, like, there's in a very kind of throwaway way, right? Like, where it's like he doesn't like comedy, but he works for Deborah. Why? And that just made me kind of question it for myself. Like, why is he there? And upon reflection, I really, it's because Damien is a work and business oriented individual. He takes his job very seriously. He takes pride in doing his job well. And Deborah Vance would not have been able to have built the brand and the empire that is Deborah Vance without business savvy, good work ethic, and tenacity. And I think that those are things that Damien really, uh, you know, appreciates and admires and respects and wants to emulate. And so I think that he works for Deborah Vance because she's a good businesswoman, not because he's a fan. And I think that honestly, that's hilarious as well. I mean, as a person that doesn't like comedy, that spends most of his time watching comedy, and the same set essentially is it just speaks a lot to who he is as a person.
Yeah, you're right. Damien totally eats and sleeps the job. We have a great scene where he's literally thinking about the job in his sleep.
He's literally doing it in his sleep. Yes.
So I wanted to ask about that in particular. What kind of backstory have you come up with for the character? What do you think his personal life is like? Because we really haven't yet seen much of Damien's life outside the job. So what do you think, what his personal life looks like?
I always we've been joking about this, but I always say that it could be one of two things. Like either he goes home every night and color coordinates his khakis, or he's at a circuit party. You don't know. We don't know. And I kind of love not knowing. I kind of love the enigma that is Damien, even for myself as an actor, as the person playing him. I like not really knowing what he does on his own time, because this season, seeing him sleep talking, it's does he go home and do that as well? I mean, he's sleeping. So, I like not knowing what he does outside of work, because I think that, unlike Marcus this season, we get to see a lot more of his kind of life outside of work. I think that Damien, I don't know if it's maybe Damien's just not self-aware enough to really see a life outside of work. And I think he's okay with that. And I kind of love that.
You touched on this earlier, but I wanted to ask you more to elaborate on. One of the things we see in a few episodes, and I won't give any spoilers, but we see Damien be very resourceful in a number of episodes as he's on tour with Deborah. So I just wanted to know, what do you think is a personality trait of his that you're really drawn to, or that you admire?
Well, I think that, work ethic is what I admire in him. I think that sometimes his work ethic will sometimes get the best of him, though, and will send him into a panic or a spiral, which you see a lot of. There's a lot of panic. Damien is panicking the entire season in a lot of ways. And while that makes for great comedy and for great television, I don't necessarily want to take that on for myself. But I think I respect his work ethic. I respect the fact that he is that he cares about doing a good job at whatever task is at hand. And I think that I think that that's something that everyone should want to have, a skill or a trait that everyone should want to have, is to do whatever job it is that they're doing to the best of their ability.
Absolutely. And speaking of his panic, he is so well planned for every kind of event, or feels like he's very well planned for every kind of event that's going to happen on tour. And one of the great wrinkles that's thrown into it this season is his having to work with Deborah's tour manager, played by Laurie Metcalf, which is a great kind of power struggle. So just wanted to talk to you about, she's one of the many incredible actors you get to work with on the series. So what was it like working with Laurie for those episodes?
Oh gosh, it's just it was such a dream to get to work with Laurie. I mean, I grew up watching Roseanne with my mom on the weekends, and it was like that and the Golden Girls, and The Nanny we used to watch on the weekends when I was growing up. So not only is Laurie Metcalf just as kind of a nostalgic figure for me, but also a legend in her field, a master of her craft, and getting to work with her and getting to watch her and Jean work together was just absolutely incredible. And like similarly to Jean, and I think that this speaks to like experience and getting to work with, like getting the opportunity to work with such consummate professionals and legends, is that they give you everything you need without you having to ask or wondering. It's like they just know. There's just this intuition, and like it was, and what I will say too, is speaking to like Laurie's just being an incredible person on top of actress, is that like, when you come into a cast of people in a second season, a third season, whatever it is, bonds are already created, friendships are created, we kind of have a feel for how each other works, etc. And sometimes that could be very hard to integrate oneself into a kind of unit that already exists. And it just speaks to her personality as a person, and her generosity and her talent to be able to just fully integrate in this way, where it felt like she had been with us since day one, season one. And like that. And also, not only was Weed funny on the page, but seeing what she brings to it was astounding. I can't talk enough about how wonderful it was to just watch her work, really.
Right. And speaking of the bonds that the cast has formed over, you're in your second season now. You didn't probably know each other very well even before shooting season one. But I just wanted to ask you more about working with Jean Smart, who, based on everything I've heard about her from other cast members, I imagine is such a great mentor for the younger actors who are in earlier stages of their career. So could you just talk about working with Jean on this series?
Well, working with Jean felt it felt like home in this weird way, because when I was much younger working on Ugly Betty, I had the opportunity and honor of working very closely with Vanessa Williams and Judith Light for many years. And at the time, I was quite young at that time, and so it was kind of lost on me in a sense of the kind of greatness that I was surrounded by, right? And so getting to this many years later in my career, getting to, as an adult, a fully grown adult man, getting to work with someone like Jean Smart, I really did make a kind of concerted effort to really soak it in, and to really be observant and pay attention and learn as much as I could just by observation of someone whose career, again, I respect and would want to emulate. So not only that as well, but on a more personal side, like, she's an incredibly funny person. She wants, we're always, all of us are joking and laughing, and there is not an ounce of diva, there is not an ounce of self-service as well. I mean, I think that she really sets the tone, like the person that really leads the show sets the tone for the rest of us. And for me, what I get from her leadership is like, I know that if everyone is at their best, it only does the show justice. And I want to be my best for the show, not just for myself. And I think that kind of energy and that kind of sentiment, whether spoken or unspoken, like really is like, it just really shines through for all of us, and is extremely inspiring. And like, just the fact that her stamina for work is astounding. I mean, she's going, and I'm like, I need to take a nap, like, and so I think, again, that is, she takes her job very seriously, but also, and I think this is my favorite part, has a sense of humor about what it is that we do for a living. you know, I think the two can exist simultaneously, and I think she does it beautifully.
Mark Indelicato, congratulations on the second season of Hacks, and
Thank
thanks
you.
so much for talking to Gold Derby.
Of course, thanks so much.